Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a highly anticipated head-to-head matchup between two entirely different philosophies in the EV world. We're breaking down the 2024 Mazda Arata Concept and the 2025 Alpine A390. Basically, we've got two brilliant, completely distinct visions for the future of driving sitting side by side.
But before we get into the nuts and bolts, I want you to ask yourself a quick question. Are you driven by elegance or excitement? Seriously, when you slide behind the wheel, what's your driving identity? Are you looking for a refined, seamless glide to get you through your day? Or are you chasing that pulse-pounding, adrenaline-fueled thrill the second you hit the pedal? Keep your answer in the back of your mind, because as we unpack the data today, you're going to find out exactly which of these machines has your name written all over it. Let's get into it.
All right, round one. Let's officially meet the contenders and look under the hood.
The battle lines here are actually super clear. On one side, the Mazda Arata Concept gives us a really solid, respectable baseline. We're talking 365 horsepower and 500 Newton-meters of torque. That is plenty of punch for a modern daily driver, right? But then, you anchor those numbers against the Alpine A390, and wow, it just roars back with a massive 470 horsepower and an eye-watering 808 Newton-meters of torque. Top speed, the Alpine hits 220 kilometers per hour, edging out the Mazda's 200. Both are highly capable all-wheel drive setups, but the Alpine's raw output is literally jumping off the page.
And you really see that power difference when we talk about acceleration. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. The Mazda achieves this in a swift 4.8 seconds. Pretty great, right? But the Alpine A390? It absolutely blazes through it in 3.9 seconds. That is nearly a full second of difference. And you know, in the automotive world, a second is an eternity. If you crave that stomach-dropping, push-you-back-in-your-seat thrill of the literal second a traffic light turns green, well, that almost 1 second gap tells you exactly which car is going to deliver it.
So let's break down the Mazda's approach first. The Arata is all about smooth, accessible performance. That 365 horsepower, it's more than enough for your daily commute, giving you really confident, moderate acceleration. Combined with the all-wheel drive system, the Arata is giving you stability across all kinds of road conditions. It's not trying to violently throw you back into your seat so hard you spill your morning coffee. It's designed to get you where you need to go safely, predictably, and with absolute confidence.
On the flip side, the Alpine A390 is purpose-built for folks who want absolute speed and a highly aggressive, sporty experience. Yes, the Alpine completely dominates in raw thrill, but we have to talk about the trade-off here. All that immense power means potentially much higher energy consumption. When you're pushing out over 800 Newton-meters of torque, you're looking at a heavier drain on your battery and likely higher maintenance costs down the line. It's the classic automotive compromise, right? You get those high-speed thrills, for sure, but they come at a cost.
Moving right along to round two, design and aesthetics. The crazy thing is, the exterior styling of these two vehicles perfectly mirrors what's going on underneath. The Mazda Arata Concept, its design language is totally futuristic, refined, and elegant. It's really aimed at the buyer who loves sophisticated, subtle styling, the kind of car that turns heads without having to shout about it. Meanwhile, the Alpine A390 is bold, it's aggressive, and it's unapologetically sporty. It's built for someone who wants a standout, performance-heavy look that practically screams what the car's capable of just by sitting in the driveway.
It really boils down to this perfectly captured thought from our source material. Choose based on personal taste, Mazda for elegance, Alpine for excitement. Look, aesthetics are completely subjective. There is absolutely no wrong answer here. It's just a matter of whether you want your ride to whisper sophisticated luxury or roar with aggressive performance.
All right, let's pivot a bit. Round three, the common ground. Because despite having totally different missions, they actually share some really fantastic baseline features. For starters, both are 5-seaters and both pack all-wheel drive, making them super practical for families, weekend trips, or just dealing with bad weather on your commute. Plus, both are fully electric, so you're getting all those EV perks. Zero emissions, whisper quiet operation, potentially scoring some local tax incentives depending on where you live, and of course, significantly lower everyday running costs compared to a traditional gas-powered car.
However, no car is absolutely perfect. Both have a few inherent trade-offs.
The source material points out that neither the Mazda nor the Alpine puts a heavy focus on massive cargo capacity or extreme interior versatility. So if you're someone who constantly hauls tons of gear, you might need to look elsewhere. Also, being fully electric means your convenience is always going to be somewhat tied to your local charging infrastructure and typical EV charge times. And remember that yes but trade-off we mentioned with the Alpine? Because it has that massively higher power output, if you drive it aggressively, it's probably going to drain its battery noticeably faster than the Mazda, which means more frequent stops to plug in.
Which brings us to the final showdown. The verdict, your ideal electric ride. Let's break this down into who should buy what. If your number one priority is a refined, elegant, futuristic design over just raw speed, if you value a really smooth, stable, and comfortable daily drive with the reliability of all-wheel drive, and if you're looking for a slightly more affordable entry into the EV space, then your hands-down winner is the Mazda Arata Concept. It takes the crown for the conservative, style-focused buyer who just wants a safe, beautiful, and highly refined daily driver. But if your priorities are totally different, if you crave crazy high acceleration and top-end speed, if you love a bold, head-turning, sporty design, and most importantly, if you're willing to pay a bit more in energy costs for that massive burst of power, then the Alpine A390 is your undisputed champion. It is the absolute ultimate choice for thrill seekers and adrenaline junkies who will happily trade a little bit of efficiency for a completely exhilarating driving experience. So that brings us right back to where we started. But now you're armed with the facts. Will you choose the safe, stylish path of the Mazda Arata, embracing that refined comfort for your everyday life? Or are you going to trade some efficiency and subtlety to capture the ultimate aggressive thrill of the Alpine A390? The future of electric driving is giving us both incredible options, but the key is knowing your own driving identity. Think about what truly moves you and let that guide you to your perfect ride. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.